The stars were silent. In the middle of deep space, a dark alien ship floated slowly, forgotten by time. Its metal body was broken, old, and covered in space dust. No lights, no movement. Just silence. But inside, something was still alive. A giant creature, shaped like a dragon, lay on the cold metal floor. His name was unknown now. No one called him by name. Long ago, he had a name, a home, and a family. But now he had nothing. His large golden eyes were dull. His wings, once strong, now hung weak beside him. His body was thin. He had not eaten for many months. He didn't want to eat. He didn't care anymore. Flashback begins, quick cuts, fire. Screams, ships in the sky. His home planet was burning. Alien soldiers had arrived, destroying everything. His kind, the star dragons, were hunted for their power. One by one they were killed or captured. He fought. He tried to protect the young ones, but he failed. They took him, chained him, locked him in a ship, back to present. That was years ago. Maybe more. Time didn't matter now. He was put on this old ship by his captors. Then they left him. Maybe they forgot about him. Maybe they didn't care. Either way, he was alone. The ship's life support still worked. Barely. The machines gave him water, gave him food, but he never touched it. The food just sat there, untouched, day after day. He wasn't dead. But he wasn't really alive either. His heart was heavy. His hope, gone. He didn't roar. He didn't move. He just lay there, waiting for nothing. Scene change. Outside the ship, far away, a small human cargo ship was flying through space. Inside, a group of workers were talking on the radio. Foreman Mike, we found something strange. What is it? Looks like a very old alien ship. No signal, no power, just floating. Foreman Mike, a tough human with a kind voice, replied, "Send me the coordinates. I'll check it out." Scene. Foreman Mike's ship approaching. Mike's ship moved closer to the alien vessel. He looked at it through the window. "Looks dead," he whispered. "Might be junk or ... maybe something valuable." He put on his suit and entered the airlock. As the doors opened, he stepped into the broken alien ship. Inside the ship, Mike's POV. Dark halls. Strange sounds. Old metal creaking. Mike walked slowly, holding a flashlight. He was careful. He had seen dangerous things before in space. "Hello?" he called out. No answer. He checked each room. Just old machines and broken walls. But then, his scanner beeped. "Heat signature?" he whispered. The scanner showed life, one spot. Deep in the ship. Mike moved toward it. Dragon's room. He reached a large sealed door, heavy and strange. He pressed a button. The door opened slowly with a loud hiss, and there he saw it, a giant creature, curled up, barely breathing. Golden eyes opened just a little. Mike froze. The dragon did not move. Mike's voice dropped to a whisper. "What the hell are you?" The dragon didn't answer, just stared at him. Tired. Mike saw the food tray, still full, untouched. "Are you alive?" he asked softly. Still no answer. But those eyes, they were full of pain. Mike's reaction. Mike didn't run. He didn't point a weapon. He slowly placed a fresh food pack on the ground and stepped back. "I don't know who left you here," he said, "but you don't have to stay alone anymore." The dragon watched him. Mike left the room, but kept looking back. There was fear in his eyes, but also something else. Curiosity. Ending narration, slow music playing. And so, the forgotten dragon was no longer alone. For the first time in many years, someone had spoken to him. He didn't eat that day, but something inside him changed. A very small light, deep inside the darkness. He didn't know the man's name. He didn't trust him yet, but he noticed him, and maybe, just maybe, hope had returned. Asterisk, a hot cup of coffee shook in his hand. Bump. The ship jerked slightly. Foreman Mike frowned. Another rock? Or was it the docking clamp? He looked out the window of his small cargo ship. In front of him floated something that did not belong to this part of space. An alien ship, massive, silent, and old. Its outer shell looked burnt, blackened by time and war. Mike didn't like mysteries, but he liked free scrap. He took a sip of cold coffee and spoke into the recorder. Captain's log. Found something strange again. Wish I could ignore it, but I won't. Let's see what's hiding in this rust bucket. Scene, Mike prepares. Grabbed his old spacesuit. It smelled like oil and dust. Just like everything else on his ship. His crew was gone, scattered across other jobs. Today Mike was alone. As he moved through the airlock, he felt the silence outside. Space was always quiet, but this was different. It felt heavy. The alien ship's doors opened with a long, slow hiss. He stepped inside. Scene. Inside. The alien ship. The air smelled like metal and fire. The lights flickered weakly. Mike turned on his helmet light. He moved through long, empty hallways. Wires hung from the ceiling. Some walls were scorched. There were signs of battle, broken panels, deep claw marks. He whispered to himself, whatever happened here wasn't peaceful. Then a sound beep. His wrist scanner lit up. Life form detected. Mike froze. That can't be right. He adjusted the scanner. The signal was real. Something, or someone, was still alive here. Scene. The first glimpse again, but from Mike's mind, he followed the signal through a massive door. Larger than any he'd seen on a standard alien ship. It was cold to the touch. He opened it. And then he saw it again. Creature. Massive, curled, still. Its body was covered in dark scales, its wings folded tightly around itself. Its chest moved slowly, the only sign of life. Mike had seen aliens. He'd seen monsters too, but this was something else. Something ancient. Something sad. Scene, unexpected compassion. He stepped forward carefully. The floor creaked. The creature opened one eye, a golden eye, and it looked straight into Mike's soul. Mike didn't raise his weapon. Didn't scream. He whispered, "You've been here a long time, haven't you?" The dragon said nothing, just stared. Mike looked around. Food trays untouched. Water full. All systems still running. He understood something in that moment. This creature was not trapped physically. It was trapped inside its own heart. It had given up. Scene. Mike makes a decision. Mike sat down on the cold metal floor. Right in front of the beast. He opened his pack and pulled out a protein bar. He unwrapped it and took a bite. "This isn't great," he said, smiling slightly, "but it's better than starving." He placed another bar gently in front of the creature. The golden eye followed the movement, but the dragon did not move. Mike stood up and nodded once. "I'll be back tomorrow. Don't die before that." "Okay." He turned and walked away. But before leaving, he placed a small recording device on the wall. He spoke into it. Day 1. Found something impossible. He looks broken, but he's still alive. That means there's still a chance. Scene. Back on Mike's ship, night recording. Mike sat in his small control room, talking to himself. He's not just a creature. There's something in those eyes. Pain. Intelligence. He paused. Maybe I should leave. Maybe it's not my problem, but he reminds me of something. He looked at a small photo on the wall, a child's drawing. A dragon with stars behind it. Written below in messy letters, "For Daddy, the space hero." Mike smiled softly. I'll go back. The dragon lay still. The small food bar sat in front of him. He looked at it, sniffed it, then turned his head away. He was not ready, but deep. Inside, something had changed. He had been alone for too long. Now someone had come back. Someone had seen him, and that was the beginning. Darkness, silence. Then a voice, not loud, not angry, just warm. I brought a chair this time. Hope you don't mind. The dragon lay still, his body weak, his eyes half closed. The voice continued. Name's Mike. Foreman Mike, if we're being formal. Most just call me the guy who talks too much. The dragon didn't move, but he listened. His world had been quiet for years. But now there was this sound. This human. Seen. Mike talking daily, dragon listening silently. Every day. Mike returned. He talked about Earth, about blue skies, about children drawing dragons in school books, about junk food and old songs. The dragon never spoke. He just stared, listened, thought that something inside him moved, but only a little. Mike never asked for answers, never forced a reaction. He just kept coming back. Scene. Day 5. Mike brings music. Brought something new today, Mike said, smiling. Placed a small speaker on the floor. Music started. Soft, strange, beautiful. Piano. A song with no words, but full of feeling. The dragon flinched. Memories touched his mind. Long ago, there was music on his world. Different sound, same soul. A memory tried to rise, a child laughing. A soft hum. Then it faded. He let out a small breath. Almost like a sigh. Mike noticed, but said nothing. He just let the music play. Scene. First words. Next day. The food bar was missing. Eaten. Mike smiled, but didn't say anything about it. He just sat down. So, he said, after a pause. Why'd you stop eating? Silence. Then, for the first time, a sound. A deep, rough voice. What's the point? Mike blinked. He wasn't sure he had heard it. Did you just... What's the point of eating? If everything you loved is gone? The voice said again, low, broken. It was the dragon. He was still lying down, still tired, but now speaking. Scene. The real first contact. Mike sat forward. You can talk. The dragon looked at him with tired eyes. I always could. Then. Why didn't you? The dragon turned his head slightly. No one ever stayed long enough to listen. Scene. The story begins. Mike didn't ask a lot of questions. He just nodded. I'm here now. The dragon was quiet. Then, softly, they called me Kareth long ago. Mike repeated the name slowly. Kareth. It means sky. Flame in my old tongue. Mike looked at the creature again, now not as a beast, but as someone. That's a strong name. Kareth's eyes closed again. It was before the war. Before they turned on me. Seeing Mike's honesty. Don't have to tell me everything now, Mike said. But I want to understand. Kareth let out a soft sound, not a growl. Not a sigh. Something in between. Why? You're human. You gain nothing from this. Mike leaned back. Maybe not. But I know what it feels like to lose people. Kareth opened one eye again. You lost your family? Yeah, my boy. Years ago, ship malfunction. He drew dragons. Said they were guardians of the stars. Silence filled the room. Then Kareth whispered, he was right. Scene. The bond begins. After that day, the room didn't feel cold anymore. Kareth still didn't eat much. Still stayed quiet. But he watched Mike with softer eyes. Mike brought tools, fixed parts of the room, restored light. Sometimes Kareth helped. Just a flick of his claw. A push of energy. They didn't laugh. Not yet, but they didn't feel like strangers anymore. Final. Scene. First hint of danger. That night, back on his ship, Mike checked the scanner logs. An unknown signal had pinged the area. A ship? Maybe more than one. He frowned. Someone's looking for this place. He looked back at the alien vessel on his screen. They're not getting him. Asterisk, there was light. A soft sky with 2 suns. Wind over silver grass. Laughter in the air. Dragons flying high, free, strong. Proud. And then ... fire. Screams. Shrines. Kareth opened his eyes suddenly. He was back in the cold room. The old ship. Alone. But this time, not completely. Scene. Mike arrives again. Mike walked in quietly, carrying his usual bag. Morning, big guy, he said softly. I brought something new today. You ever try earth tea? Kareth didn't answer, but his golden eyes followed Mike's every step. Mike placed a small cup near the edge of the platform and sat down. Not too close, not too far. It's warm. Calms the nerves. Don't worry, it's not poison. Kareth let out a dry, low sound, a laugh. Maybe. Scene. The first conversation. Mike spoke while sipping his tea. You ever miss the sky? Kareth looked away for a moment. Every second, he replied, voice deep and slow. You used to fly? I was born in the clouds. Mike smiled. No wonder you're always staring at the ceiling. Kareth didn't smile. Not yet, but the air between them felt ... lighter. Scene. Cracks in the wall. Kareth turned his head toward Mike. His voice was quieter now. Why do you come back every day? Mike didn't answer right away. He took a deep breath. Because you're still alive. Because someone needs to give a damn. Kareth stared. Even if I've killed before? You think humans haven't? Mike replied. Kareth blinked slowly. You're not afraid of me? Mike looked him in the eye. I was at first. Then I saw you weren't a monster. Just broken. The words hung in the air. Kareth lowered his eyes. Scene. Kareth's past begins to show. After a long silence, Kareth spoke again. I was supposed to protect them. Mike didn't interrupt. The hatchlings. The elders. I was their guardian. Their flame. What happened? They trusted the wrong ones. We all did. Kareth's voice cracked. Not from age, from pain. They came as allies. Then they turned, took our eggs, chained our wings, burned our skies. He closed his eyes. I failed. Mike leaned forward, voice low. You survived. That's not failure. That's the start of fighting back. Kareth looked at him. Something sharp in his eyes. But it wasn't anger. It was grief. Seeing connection deepens, Mike stood up slowly and walked closer, carefully. Can I show you something? Kareth didn't move, but didn't stop him either. Mike pulled a small photo from his pocket. It showed a child with wide eyes holding a toy dragon. My son. He believed dragons were heroes, not monsters. Kareth stared at the photo for a long time. He was right. He finally said, Scene? The room warms up. The ship's lights flickered again. Kareth raised his claw gently and tapped the nearest panel. The lights steadied. Mike smiled. Thanks. Maybe you've got some engineer blood too. Kareth almost smiled. Mike stood at the door. I'll be back tomorrow. Kareth asked, What if I'm not here? Mike paused. Then I'll wait anyway. He turned and left. Kareth watched the door for a long time, then looked at the photo again, out in space. Something blinked. A ship, small, silent, watching, its scanners locked onto the old vessel. Unknown life form detected. Subject: Dragon-class entity. New orders. Prepare for extraction. Dark room. Red lights. Cold metal walls. Inside, 3 alien bounty hunters sat around a holomap. The central image flickered, an old star chart showing one abandoned alien ship. Drifting in silence. Target located. The lead hunter, tall and armored, growled through his translator. Kareth is alive, weak, isolated. The price on his head just doubled. Another hunter hissed. That creature should have died years ago. He didn't, the leader replied. Which means we finished the job this time. They closed the holomap. Engines roared. Scene. Back on the abandoned ship. Mike was repairing a power panel. Sparks flew as he cursed softly. Kareth lay nearby, his eyes half closed. You humans are loud when you work, the dragon murmured. Mike grinned. And you're quiet when you heal. Kareth's body looked stronger now. Not healthy, but no longer dying. Scene. Warning signs begin. Suddenly, the ship's systems beeped. Mike's handheld scanner flashed red. Incoming signal. Small ship. No ID. He frowned. Kareth stood slowly, tail curling behind him. Show me. Mike tapped a control screen. A shape appeared in the distance. Black, fast, sharp. A hunter ship. Kareth's breath grew cold. They've found me. Seeing Kareth's panic, Kareth paced, his claws clicking against the metal floor. You must leave, Mike. Not happening. You don't understand. They don't take prisoners. They don't care who you are. I'm not leaving. You here, Mike said, firm. Kareth stopped. Why? Because I'm not like them. And neither are you. Scene. Preparing for the attack. The ship shook slightly as the hunter ship docked. Mike ran to the storage bay, grabbing a plasma cutter and an old blaster. He tossed a heat grenade to Kareth. Can you still use that fire of yours? Kareth looked at the device, then at Mike. I don't know, but I'll try. Scene. Inside the ship, tension builds. The air grew colder. Footsteps echoed down the halls. 3 shadows entered, tall, armored, deadly. The hunters scanned the area. Kareth, you can't hide. We know you're weak. They moved closer. To the chamber. Mike and Kareth waited silently in the dark. Mike whispered, You good? Kareth nodded once. His eyes glowed faint gold. Scene. The fight begins. The first hunter stepped through the door. Mike pulled the trigger. Plasma bolt hit metal. The second raised a shock cannon, fired. Mike ducked behind cover. The third moved fast, too fast. But before he could strike, a growl shook the room. Kareth roared, not loud, but deep and full of fire. He stepped forward, not weak anymore. Golden light shimmered in his chest. The hunter turned to aim. Whoosh! Kareth released his breath. A burst of searing plasma energy. The wall behind the hunter melted. One enemy down. Scene. Mike and Kareth fight together. Mike shot from cover, covering Kareth's side. Kareth spun, his tail slamming another hunter into a wall. The last hunter charged, blade raised, straight at Mike. Mike's blaster clicked. Empty. But before the blade could land crack, Kareth bit down, crushing the enemy's arm. He tossed the body aside. Silence returned. Mike stood, breathing heavy. Kareth's chest rose and fell. His body was burned, bleeding, but alive. Sparks rained down. The room smelled like metal and fire. Mike limped over, laughing weakly. That was insane. Kareth looked at the ruined chamber. You stayed. I told you. You're not alone anymore. Kareth looked out the window at the stars. I cannot hide forever. Mike nodded. Then let's stop hiding. Kareth turned to him, voice deep and clear. Take me to Earth. Mike raised an eyebrow. You sure? Kareth's golden eyes burned softly. I want to see the sky again. Asterisk. The ship was quiet. The halls were burned. The air was hot and heavy. Smoke floated like ghosts. Bodies of the bounty hunters lay scattered. Sparks flew from broken panels. Kareth sat still in the center of the room, eyes closed. Chest rising, bleeding. Mike stood nearby, injured, holding his ribs. Watching. No. Words. Just breathing. Like something ancient was thinking. Seen. Something isn't right. Suddenly, a sound. Click. Clank. A new signal pinged from the control panel. Another ship. Bigger, closer, armed. Mike checked the screen. They weren't alone. Kareth didn't move. Mike stared at him. Kareth. Still no answer. Then, the lights went out. Scene. Flashback flickers inside Kareth's mind. Memory. Again. Screams. Eggs being crushed. His people crying out. Then, silence. He was the only one left. His fire, taken. His power, locked away by fear. Scene. Present. Emergency lights blink red. Mike grabbed his bag. He limped toward the control door. Boom. A heavy blast rocked the ship. A second group of invaders was breaching. Kareth, if you're gonna do something, now's the time. Mike shouted. Still no reply. The dragon's head remained low. Another explosion. Mike stumbled. His back hit the wall. A metal pipe fell. Across his leg, he screamed. Kareth opened one eye. Golden. Burning. Focused. Seen. The awakening. One memory rose louder than the rest. His nest. A paw. Small hatchling climbing over his back. Her laugh. He had promised. I will protect you. Kareth. Stood. The ground. Vibritted. The wall shook from the pressure in the air. Mike gasped. The heat was rising. Fast. The ancient dragon stretched his wings wide for the first time in years. Scales shimmered like molten gold. From deep in his throat. A sound began. A growl. Then a roar. Then flame. Scene. Hallway. The enemy's breach. 3. New invaders entered through the side tunnel. They held rifles, shields, tech gear. Scan the area. Take the dragon alive if possible. But then, everything went red. From the shadows, fire rushed toward them like a wave. Too fast to run. Too bright to see. Boom. The fire melted walls. Screams echoed. The hallway exploded in heat and light. Mike watches in shock. From the floor, Mike shielded his eyes. Kareth moved like lightning. Living weapon. He wasn't a prisoner anymore. He was the storm. Scene? Total destruction. Kareth's claws cut metal like paper. His tail cracked. Floors. His wings burst through bulkheads. The enemy ship, still docked to theirs, began to tilt, melting from Kareth's heat pulse. Mike crawled to safety as the last wall fell in fire. Then silence returned. Only Kareth stood. Alone. But this time, tall, proud, awake. Scene. The ship begins to collapse. We need to go. Mike shouted. Kareth looked down at him. Nodded once. He wrapped one wing around Mike protectively, and they ran. Scene. Escape ship launches inside Mike's cargo. Ship alarm screamed. Engines whined. Heat sensors overloaded, but they launched. Behind them, the old alien ship cracked in half and exploded in silence. Mike sat in the pilot seat, blood on his arm. Kareth stood behind him, filling the whole chamber, still glowing. Mike looked back. So, this is the real you, huh? Kareth lowered his head, voice like thunder. No, this is only the beginning. Mike pressed a button. Earth appeared on the screen. Blue, bright, alive. Kareth watched silently. He didn't say it out loud, but something in his eyes shifted. He was going home. Maybe not to his world, but to something new. He had seen many planets. None like this. Kareth stood near the main window of Mike's ship. Earth hung in space. A quiet blue gem wrapped in white clouds. His golden eyes reflected the planet. He didn't blink. He didn't breathe. He just stared. "It's beautiful," Mike said softly. Standing beside him, Kareth didn't reply out loud, but in his mind he whispered to himself, "I don't know this world, but it feels like it wants me to." Scene: preparing. For landing, Mike moved to the control panel. "I got clearance from an old station. We'll land far from the cities." "No questions asked." Kareth nodded. "That's good." "I don't want to scare your people." Mike smirked. "To be honest, a giant golden dragon flying over New York might cause a bit of a stir." Kareth gave a low hum, not quite a laugh, but close. Scene: landing site, remote forest, Earth. The ship landed in a quiet green valley surrounded by trees. Birds scattered. Leaves shook. The ground trembled as Kareth stepped out for. The first time, he placed one claw on the earth's soil. It was warm. It didn't reject him. He looked up. The sky was blue, soft, endless. No warships. No fire. He opened his wings slowly like a long-forgotten habit. Mike stepped out behind him, shielding his eyes from the sun. "So, what now?" Scene: a slow walk, a heavy heart. Kareth didn't answer right away. He walked forward, claws pressing softly into the grass. Every sound, every smell was strange, but it didn't hurt. It was gentle. He looked at the trees. "I thought I'd never feel a world breathe again," he said quietly. Mike followed beside him, slower. "Earth isn't perfect, but it tries." Kareth stopped near a quiet lake. "What if I don't belong here?" Mike looked at him. "Home isn't a place, Kareth." "Then what is it?" "It's a person who waits for you. A place where someone chooses to see you, not as a weapon, but as a soul." Scene: flashback triggered. Kareth's last. "Goodbye." Kareth looked into the lake and for a moment saw a reflection of his old self, strong, proud, full of flame. He saw his sister's face. The hatchlings. The last moment before the sky burned. He closed his eyes and whispered to them in his language, "I didn't forget. I never stopped flying for you." A tear, glowing, hot, fell into the water and vanished. Scene: Mike builds a fire nearby. Mike started a small fire under the stars. Kareth lay near it, his tail curled beside him. For once. There was no danger, no weapons, no alarms. Just fire, stars, and silence. "You gonna stay here forever?" Mike asked. Kareth looked up at the stars. "I think I'll build something. Not just for me, for the ones who didn't make it." Mike smiled. "You're welcome here, for as long as you want." Scene: a message to the sky. That night, Kareth stood on the hilltop alone. He looked up and sent a signal, not a beacon, but a memory, a soft pulse of light into the sky, a story. His story. So that somewhere, somehow, someone would remember the last of the star dragons, not as a weapon, but as a survivor. The next morning birds chirped. Sunlight passed through the trees. Mike yawned, stretching. Kareth sat still, already watching the sky. "You sleep?" Mike asked. "No. You good?" Kareth looked over, calm. "I think I'm finally free." Mike handed him a thermos. "You want tea?" Kareth took it in his claw, held it gently. "I want peace." They stood together, side by side, in the morning light. A human, a dragon, and something new beginning.